you make the decision to transfer. And I think a lot of people probably forgot. Heck, I forgot about that. But you transfer there, battle for the job. Just real quick, talk about that. I mean, obviously, again, you want to go to pursue playing time and, get your opportunity on the field. But looking back on that decision, right decision, your experience there overall.
Yeah, man, I was done with that last year. I obviously needed to graduate, so I spent a semester not playing football and battled whether or not I was done completely. So this was 2000, I guess spring of 2008. I wasn't totally convinced I was going to play. My parents really wanted me to have better closure to my career, and had they not really, pushed it, I probably would have been done. But anyway, I opened up my recruitment, and there were several teams that called, and Liberty was one of them. They had a really good quarterback, lefty named Brock Smith, that had just graduated, and a really solid team coming back. And so they weren't, Mike Brown at the time was a freshman. They weren't sure how he was going to step in and play. And so they called me, and I got there, and like I said, had to battle for it. Mike was a hell of a player. And but it was great closure. I think we ended up going 8-3 that year. I may have led the country in completion percentage.
Wow.
It was interesting. Mike was so athletic and would play receiver until we got really close to the goal line, where they would put him in a quarterback to run. We had more variety with him at quarterback, and so he got to finish off a lot of the drives. But man, I had a blast getting to know the guys on that team, and it's cool. It's cool now because people want to hear perspectives of different coaching staffs and different schemes and all that stuff. And like I kind of touched on it earlier, but the biggest difference between Spurrier, I think, and Brandon Streeter's philosophy, were Spurrier he'd want his quarterback to get up to the line and say, okay, well, how can I make the biggest play possible here? Where Streeter was kind of on the opposite side of it. It was like, I knew that if we had a 3-by-1, passing concept, 3 receivers on one side, 1 on the other, and the one receiver had inside leverage, soft coverage, I was going to throw a 3-step out route every single time. I mean, he kind of took the thinking out of the game for the quarterbacks in a lot of ways. So, I'd bust an out route, didn't have to think about it. And so it was just different. I mean, you have more dinking and dunking in the Liberty office than you did in the South Carolina offense. But it was a big relief from a complexity perspective for me, and it slowed the game down. And I'd say probably 3 or 4 games into that season, things started to click, and we had a great year. And I'm so thankful that I did that. It was great closure for my career. The funny thing about Liberty was I had already graduated. So Matt Liner, he got a bunch of pub on ESPN about taking a ballroom class, for his last semester there. You may or may not remember that, but I enrolled, but did not take a step in any classes. I mean, because it didn't matter. I mean, I have a 0.00 GPA at Liberty, and I don't even know if they'd let me back through the door if I came knocking. I just played football, and I'd wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning and go to the football field and do my thing. And yeah, so I've developed awesome relationships with guys over there too. And so it was good closure.
Yeah, sure. Tommy, I want to highlight really quickly for people who may have forgotten, like I said, at Liberty, you went 154 for 227, 67.8. We'll call it 68 completion percentage. Threw for 1,700 yards, 9 TDs, just 5 picks. So good year. You had a good year. Very, very good year.
Yeah, it was fun.
Like you said, great closure indeed.